I'm Kyle from the Shift Open Finance community, and today I'm joined with James Fell, founder and CEO of Credit Canary. Let's start off with Credit Canary. What do you do and what services do you provide?
Kyle, well, firstly, thanks so much for having me here today. So Credit Canary is a smart decisioning platform that allows consumer credit lenders to better understand and unlock contextual insight about their customers throughout the loan term, with a view to helping them make better decisions both at the point of lending and then throughout the term of the loan.
Okay, amazing. Very succinct description. That's awesome. So collecting that data of the consumer, how are you utilizing open banking in that function? And of course, we're the Shift Open Finance community. So how could open finance affect your proposition in the future?
Yeah, so within consumer credit, there is a number of credit data products that those lenders use. So typically it's consumer credit bureau data, so your Experian, Equifax, those sorts of lot. And then you've got open banking, which is much more utilised within the more near prime, subprime end of the market, as a way of better determining and understanding affordability. But then we're also seeing lots of other forms of data sources start to emerge. But what Credit Canary is doing is we bring together all of those data sources and triangulate them together to give a full customer view on the customer. And then we enrich it with a number of different data features to allow those lenders to better understand what's going on within their customers' world, to give them maximum possible opportunity to allow them to lend.
Okay, so you're triangulating all the data at the start, giving them more informed decisions. You also have the best day to repay on the other side of that. Could you dive more into that?
Yeah, of course. So by bringing together those data points, we provide a data quality score. So we give an insight into the quality of the data that's coming in. Off the back of it, we then enrich it to create a number of features, which we have a number of propensity models looking into things like propensity to default, propensity to mispay, future liquidity, all those types of factors. And what we do is we have a suite of models which effectively pinpoint next best action for an individual. So we have a number of treatments, whether they're time-based treatments or value-based treatments, and based on the inputs from the data aggregation that we do, it ultimately determines the next best action. Best day to repay is a good example of that. So within subprime, near prime lending, people will take out credit at the point of need, but it doesn't always align to when they get paid. Yeah. So there's kind of like some inefficiencies that we've been able to resolve for. So by being able to, in that instance, to move payment dates based around when they get paid, it gives a lot of reassurance to the customer because it makes sure that they can manage their finances effectively. But then from a lender's perspective, it increases the likelihood that they'll make those payments. And when borrowers don't make payments, it's costly. So being able to simplify that process is really valuable for both lender and borrower, and it creates better outcomes.
Brilliant. So you're helping the lenders get better returns, lower their arrears rate. And we'll touch on a little bit later about the kind of progress you've made. But let's roll it back to the start. So you were the first investment we've ever made for our Ignite program. Tell us where the idea for Credit Canary came from before us, and then how you found it through the program, and how those kind of foundational steps started with Credit Canary.
Cool. Well, the initial seed for Credit Canary came with the first fintech that I was working in. And I spent a lot of time going around community lenders all over the country. But there was one day that really kind of stuck in my mind. So I was in a lender in Coventry, sat in one of their lending branches. And I remember this lady came in with 3 or 4 kids. I can't remember what. She was clearly stressed. And she'd come into this lending office to make an arrangement as to what she could pay because she was behind on her payments. The kids were going crazy. They're running around like this office. She was stressed. And the lady that was trying to work with her to understand what she could afford was ultimately like shooting from the hip. Yeah. And she was saying, can you afford this? Can you afford that? And I was like, hang on a minute. I obviously didn't say this overtly. Like, with the information that this lender had on this individual, like, why are they asking like all of these questions? Like, we know what her credit profile is. We know what her affordability is. We should be able to just pinpoint how, when's best. And the idea came to me then was that this data could be used together to help promote more rational decisions and help people make rational decisions and guide them at their point of need. And as a result, like create better outcomes for them as well. So, it's painful for anybody to go through a debt, consolidation or repayment. It's quite an impersonal experience. So if we can use that data, that was the seed of the idea to then say, well, then how could we use it to then improve financial outcomes for individuals? It wasn't actually the day that I left that lending office that I was like, I'm going to go off and start this business and just try and solve this problem. It was actually a couple of years after, when I met with the directors of Woodhurst, and they were actively looking to make an investment. And because we'd collaborated as part of the Shift Open Finance community within other roles, it kind of was a natural fit for us to work together to collaborate on it. They brought kind of a depth of knowledge within banking, retail, finance, consumer credit from their time working at HSBC and other providers. And they were just starting to go on the building society's journey. So it made for a perfect timing to kick things off, and have built and grown the relationship with them as a result.
Amazing. I love that imagery of the chaos that you've now turned into order, essentially.
Well, we are still a startup, so there is a lot of chaos still.
Yeah, still a lot, but helping the lenders and the borrowers more.
Yeah, to creating harmony and trying to be good.
Yeah.
It's I'm kind of the British Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's be helpful.
I love that.
Probably cut that out.
No, we'll keep that in, definitely. And okay, so now you've been going a couple years, still startup, as you said, but you stayed with us for 6 months in an Ignite program with our investment, and then gone on to do some amazing things. Let's go into that. What's been your fundraising journey? What's been the client journey? What impact are you having on the ground?
So that initial 6 months was really impactful because it allowed me to kind of scope out in a comfortable setting, how this business was actually going to come to fruition, who are the investors that we would need to go after, validating the product principles, working with individuals to run product interviews to make sure that we weren't just barking up the wrong tree, and this was actually a proposition that we could lead with. And obviously the support that the guys provided to validate that and help structure it was really useful. We went then on a fundraising journey, raising at an incredibly difficult time, September 2022, which was a horrible time to do it. And it took a lot longer, but we did kind of push through. Ultimately, as a numbers game. Our approach was to go after super relevant investors that could really get behind the problem of wanting to solve information asymmetry challenges that we saw in retail lending. And we've, as a result, got a great group of investors that have got behind us and continue to support us at the moment and going forward. So, it's been a journey. We're still on a journey, but, more highs than lows.
Brilliant. That's amazing. And that's the investment journey you've had to grow. Now, you're live with a couple of credit unions in the UK. Do you have any of the stats and figures on the impact you're having to people like that lady you first met in the Coventry office? Yeah,
so within the credit union sector, they do a lot of. Well, firstly, they're an incredibly passionate group of individuals that are solely committed to serving those within their common bonds. And when you engage with those types of individuals, it's massively rewarding, and you do feel a real sense of duty to want to kind of help them, because the technology that's available to them is kind of either not always that great, but also out of reach. So as a result, they find it difficult to compete on a similar playing field to much larger financial institutions. So one of the things a couple of areas that we've been helping those specifically. So they do a lot of manual underwriting in who they want to bring into the book. And because of they need to run affordability on individuals. And how it's typically done is, they will get a credit file, they will get the affordability, and they'll be doing it manually, of bringing it together. So by being able to provide that single customer view, we've been able to take down the manual review time from 45 minutes to 5 minutes, and help them really deal with those complex cases so that they can deal with more members, which is like what they ultimately strive to do. So it allows them to be much more consumer centric and help and understand more about them. And then by understanding how they move around, we've been able to improve collection rates by moving payment dates around and running experimentation, and helping them better triage and engage customers through decision-making principles. So we have a suite of scorecard tools and product tools that they can use to better treat and engage customers that come into the book. And whilst they might not be eligible for the loan that they've gone in for, we've created this waterfall effect so that they maximize the opportunity for lending. So there's a real kind of like focus on financial inclusion that comes with that.
Of course, that's amazing. Okay. Now, we've spoken about the start of Credit Canary, where you came from. We've spoken about what we've done so far and the progress made. Now, let's look a bit more in the future, a bit more of the unknown. So you might be able to say stuff, you might not be able to say some other stuff, but next 1 year, next 5 years, what's the biggest things you're excited about? And also, how can Woodhurst & Shift continue to support you in that journey?
Yeah, so going forward, when it comes to the data, look, we are at quite an inflection point. Open banking is driving more adoption. We're seeing new data sources, and we're really positive about the role that open finance can do to kind of make lending more accessible and to allow customers a better opportunity to tell their story through the data that's held. Our mission, and going back to that lady within that lending office, is all about creating a world where customers never have to miss a payment, that their data can help provide the solution wherever they are and whatever their circumstance. And if we can create that world where customers never have to go through the pain of missing a payment, that's just going to create like a better world as a result. I think the things that I'm really excited about when I look at consumer credit are in two areas. So one, our ability to use that data and leverage principles of generative AI to personally engage customers at the right point of time with the right message and the right solution, so we can help people make more rational decisions and remove the role that irrational decisions take and that stick with their customers for years and years and years out of the equation. And the next part of it is around creating better financial products. So, we're seeing a move from these legacy systems to more cloud-based systems, and I hope that those ledgers going forward will make it much easier for innovators in consumer credit to make more innovative financial products. So when people do have income and expenditure shock, that financial product can move without impacting that individual's credit file and sticking with them for 6 years, or creating better products where over time, they move. So as people's incomes increase, it can help them, with cheaper credit. The ultimate kind of outlook I see is credit is priced obviously based on risk, but it's quite static. It's banded based on the amount that somebody wants to borrow. And actually, I think there's some really good learnings that consumer credit can take from insurance in how insurance is priced based on a base price, and then using the data features to either increase or decrease that base price. And I would like to see that come into consumer credit, where it's not a base price, but a base rate. So that if I'm consumer Jim from, London goes to Nationwide and is looking to get a £1,000 loan, just because I'm looking for £1,000 loan doesn't mean I have to pay more because I'm a good bet, I think. And as a result, I think you can create much more personalized pricing that can help people get access to better credit at the time when they need it. And ultimately, credit is a necessity for millions and millions of people. It's the lifeblood of our economy and many economies around the world. So making it more accessible and engaging has got to be a good thing for everyone.
I love that, how you've just linked it back to the start of that journey as well. You're here to create a better world. I know credit always gets a bad name, especially with buy now, pay later really taking prevalence. But as you said, you can't avoid it. And you're here to try and make that the best use possible.
Yeah, it's absolutely essential. And it's just about making it fairer, more accessible, more inclusive. And, if that means that those bad actors that exist kind of find it impossible to exist, then even better.
That's perfect. Well, that's a brilliant summary and a brilliant wrap up. So just for anyone who's watching, how can they reach out to you? How can they support Credit Canary on your journey?
If anybody would like to find out more, whether it's about like us as a team, our mission, our vision, and where we're going, or like more practical aspects of what our product does, reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can find me quite easily under James Fell. Contact me at jim@creditcanary.co.uk, or ask within the Shift Plus community, and feel free to reach out. I'd love to find out more and learn from others to create that better credit world.
Amazing, perfect. And I'm sure I'll see you and hopefully see some others at future Shift events. But thank you so much for joining us today. That's all.